How to hire the best salespeople. If you're growing your business and increasing your workforce, there's one thing you might not be thinking about: how to spot a successful salesperson. We've all met them, the people who seem to have it all together. They're confident in their abilities, know what they're doing, and have a great rapport with clients. Even if they aren't the best salesperson, they seem to have something special that sets them apart from everyone else. But what is it? How do you know when someone is truly succeeding in the field of sales? Let's take a look at some of the signs that will help you identify great salespeople from bad ones. So, if you want to know more about this, then this video is for you. Luckily for you, BBC member, we have produced different tips on how to hire the best salespeople. Remember that while the first step is completing any of these amazing courses, the second and possibly more important step is taking action, even if it's imperfect action. You've probably heard the saying, "You are what you eat." What does that mean? Well, it means that if you want to achieve something great, then you have to do something great. Or, in this case, something great in your sales team. If you want to grow your business and scale up, then you need to make sure that your salespeople are on board with your vision and goals. You can't expect someone just because they're awesome at their job. You have to convince them of what's in it for them too. The good news is that there are certain traits that can help a salesperson land their dream job. And there are also steps you can take to ensure that when hiring a new hire, there's no question about whether or not they're right for the role. So, to help you improve your hiring hit rate and make your final decision easy, we've created a process to equip you and your team members with the right tools to use when hunting for good salespeople. You probably already have a clear idea of what you want in a salesperson. We all know the type: the person who knows their product inside and out, who can explain it to customers in a way that makes them want to buy it. But how do you find that person? And how do you tell if they're good at selling? The best way to answer these questions is by creating a job spec. A job spec doesn't just help you identify what kind of people are out there, but also gives you the tools to find them quickly and easily. A job spec is a document that lays out exactly what the deal candidate will look like for your company: their skill set, their personality traits, their experience level, and it's designed to help you hire the right person for your role. Are you looking for a new salesperson? If so, how much do you want to spend on hiring someone? There are two questions you need to answer before you start drafting your job description. The first is, what does my business need from this person? How much experience should he or she have in the field? What skills and experiences do I need from this person that I don't currently have? The second question is, what can I afford to pay this person? What salary is affordable given my current budget and needs? Some businesses will be able to hire people with high salaries and give them room for growth, while others will find it more cost-effective to hire someone with lower salaries who need less training and supervision. If you're unsure about what kind of salary range will work best for your business, consider doing some research on average salaries in your industry and compare that data with local datasets available online. You might also consider applying for grants or loans if necessary. Those funds will help cover costs until the new hire gets off the ground. Have you ever had an employee who didn't fit your view of how to be a great salesperson? Maybe they lack key sales skills or experience, but you had a great feeling about them from the start. If so, you're not alone. If you made these kinds of mistakes in the past, there's no need to feel ashamed. It can happen to anyone. The important thing is to learn from your mistakes and pivot when you hire someone new. You don't want to waste your time and money on hiring someone who will just be another failed hire. Take some time to investigate what went wrong before, so the next time around, you won't make the same mistakes. When writing a job description, there's a tendency to want to include as much detail as possible. But be careful, if you're not clear and concise, the details can get lost in the text. This is especially true when it comes to skills and experience. The more specific you are about what someone has done or how they performed in the past, the more likely it is that this information will be overlooked by your potential candidates. Instead, consider using a short list of key points about each candidate that highlight their most important qualities, and then focus on those points throughout your description. The same goes for traits and culture fit. If you're looking for someone who has a lot of experience working with people in general, but especially with children or elderly patrons, keep the focus on the key traits that will help them succeed at their new job instead of focusing on every aspect of their career history. Having a clear set of expectations and being able to track progress can be really helpful when you're recruiting sales candidates. As you're talking with candidates, try to get a sense of how they like to work and what a typical day might look for them. You don't want them to feel like they're being pushed too hard, but you also want them to know that there's room for growth and improvement within their role. It's also important to set expectations about how long it takes for someone who's just starting out in your company to become proficient in their role. If you tell someone, well, if you work hard and do everything we ask of you, then by the end of the year, then they might feel like they won't be able to achieve anything quickly enough on their own. Instead, say something like, we expect you to be able to hit some basic targets by the end of this quarter. This will help them realize that they can set some small goals right away and then move on to bigger ones as time goes on. When you're looking for a new sales rep, it's important to define the skills and experience you're seeking. This will help you weed out unsuitable applicants from top salespeople. Consider the minimum amount of experience required in a similar role, particularly if the ability to manage others is a central part of the role. You should also consider whether or not you need someone who can work at all hours, or if you prefer someone who can only do so on weekends and after 8 p.m. If you need someone who can work at all hours, make sure that any candidate knows how to set boundaries with customers and meet deadlines. You will also want a candidate who is able to communicate well with clients and other departments within your company, as well as being able to understand complex problems quickly so they can suggest solutions quickly too. When you're looking to hire a new sales professional, it can be hard to find the right person. You want someone with the skills and aptitude for your role, but also someone is going to fit into your team, which means you need to be prepared for a lot of trial and error. Luckily, there are some great ways that you can use to track down the best candidates for this kind of job. The first step is to start using several portals where your vacancy will be advertised. This helps you increase the number of potential candidates who see your posting, which means there's a higher chance that one of those candidates is going to be the perfect fit. Next, make sure that each candidate understands exactly what their role will be on your team once they start working there. This way, they know upfront how much autonomy they'll have within their duties and responsibilities. And if they're not sure about something, they can always reach out to ask questions so they don't feel unprepared when they start. While these more passive candidates may not be crawling the web for their next job with a persuasive and personalized pitch, you may be able to generate interest in what your company has to offer. Your brand is only as good as its reputation. If you have a bad rep, no one will want to work with you. So, how do you change that perception of your company? You can start by showing off some personality. People like it when companies are friendly and personable. It makes them feel special and valued. So make sure you're always putting out positive vibes that show off your enthusiasm for what you do. You can also use social media to share pictures of yourself or your employees doing something fun together, or even just smiling from ear to ear instead of being all businesslike. If possible, try to meet people on their turf. It's better than reaching out through email or LinkedIn because it gives them the opportunity to talk directly face-to-face with someone who might have some influence over their decision-making process. While it's important to be open-minded about experience and backgrounds, you'll need to be clear on the details you won't compromise on when it comes to a new salesperson hire. If you're interviewing a candidate with 5 years of sales experience in a manufacturing company, odds are that it's not going to turn out well. Even if they're the best sales rep at their current company, industry experience sometimes trumps sales skills. Interviewing and hiring sales reps can be a tiresome process, and it's important to make sure you're weeding out candidates that you already know won't fit into your sales team. Taking a risk on someone who shows promise is one of the most important things you can do to keep your business growing. You want to make sure that the person you hire will be able to handle all the responsibility they're given. But it can be hard to know how a person will react in real-life situations until they've been put in those situations. This is why it's so important for you to have an interview process and a hiring process that allows more than just a few screening questions. You need to give yourself time to get a true sense of how the candidate handles pressure and stress before you put them in front of clients or other employees. It's also helpful to have someone very junior fill a role with lots of responsibility before committing to hiring someone very senior from outside the company. This way, both parties are comfortable with what's coming next, and both parties are able to grow together into a strong team. When you're looking for a salesperson, you want someone who will work hard and make an impact. An impressive track record is important, but it's not enough to turn your nose up at someone just because they haven't been in sales for as long as you would like. Look, for someone who has a consistent track record of success with results that are impressive, they need to have several years' worth of experience working with similar clients and have done so in fields that are profitable for the company. You don't want to hire someone who is new to the industry or just starting out. If their resume doesn't list any past jobs that meet those criteria, be wary. They may not be ready for this role yet. Also, look into the gaps in their employment. If there aren't any unexplained gaps or short tenures, that's great. That means they've stuck with one employer over time and are able to handle deadlines and manage their workloads well enough that they can keep up with your expectations without burning out on you after a month or two. If they mention any gaps in employment, ask them about them. There may be an explanation, and if there's one, it shouldn't disqualify them from being hired. When you're looking for a salesperson, it can be tempting to fall into the trap of thinking that any old person will do. But what you're really after is someone who has proven their ability to close deals in the past, and that means checking their resume and putting them through some tough questions. You'll want to make sure your potential hire has had success with past sales teams and that they've been able to achieve specific results for those teams. Example, closed more deals than their peers. You also want to make sure they've shown an ability to lead by example or that they've been promoted because they've shown a track record of success. If they haven't been able to prove themselves as a leader or salesperson before, then don't hire them. Instead, find someone else who can bring new ideas and solutions to your team. Someone who's willing not only to work hard, but also lead by example. If you're looking to hire a salesperson, make sure you have structured interview process to follow before you begin. Every company has unique requirements and expectations for how to be a good sales rep, but there's a standard best practice for interviews that can be broken into 3 key stages. Number 1, informal chat. First impressions matter. They're important because they are the first impressions that people make of you and your company. But first impressions can also be a bit disheartening, especially if they're not what you wanted them to be. That's why it's so important to spend time getting to know someone before you meet in person. Whether that means sending an email back and forth or having a phone call with a recruiter who is helping you fill your position. These first interactions are often where most of your hiring needs will come from people who love working with you as much as you love working with them. And when it comes out that there's a great cultural fit between the two of you, that is, when the personality matches, well, let's just say nothing can take away from that initial feeling of confidence. Number 2, formal meeting. The sales training and industry expertise of your new hire will be tested by a more formal meeting. This is an opportunity to ask more pointed and specific questions regarding all areas of the business. Effective salespeople should be able to give comprehensive answers to difficult questions, like how they would handle X type of objection on an important sales call. You can also invite key members of the team the potential candidate would be joining to give them a chance to evaluate the candidate themselves. Number 3, presentation. The sales presentation is the final part of the interview. It will give you an opportunity to assess how well a candidate performs under pressure and whether they're a good fit for your company. This is dependent on things like their communication skills, ability to make emotional connections with stakeholders in the room, product knowledge, and so on. A Fox sales presentation can offer you a deeper level of insight into whether the candidate is suitable for the role. Before starting your interviews, design them in a format that guarantees you'll get the answers and information you need. Clear expectations are key to hiring a salesperson who fits your requirements and definition of how to be a good sales rep. Think about what kind of person you want on your team. Are they bubbly, easygoing, a little shy? Do they love to talk about themselves or are they more comfortable listening? What does the best candidate look like? How do you know if they're really going to fit in with your culture? It's important to have these conversations before you start an interview process because otherwise, it can be really hard to find someone who will fit into your company and support your goals as a company. The interview process can take a long time, but the best candidates may well be speaking to other recruiters, so it's important to keep the lines of communication open. Don't wait to give an offer to a great salesperson, as you might miss out on hiring them before someone else does. Your recruiting team is likely working hard to find you the right candidates and is doing its best to keep you up to date with its progress. It's important for you as a leader not only to make sure that your team is working efficiently, but also that you're being kept informed about what is happening within your organization. You will often hear from your recruiter when they have received some new information that might be relevant to your business. However, sometimes this information may not be helpful or relevant to your business at all. If this happens, then don't panic. You can request an update from your recruiter on the status of their search by contacting them directly via email or phone call. If you think you found a potential top performer and want to hire them, make sure they know you are keen. Keeping candidates in the loops will prevent them from accepting offers elsewhere before you make yours. Use a combination of email and social media to keep your candidate informed about what's happening with their application. They may have heard through the grapevine that another company is interested in hiring them, so they need to know that they still have a chance at a job at your company. You don't want to leave it too long before reaching out, though you're only looking for candidates who are genuinely keen on working for you. If someone has made it clear that they like another offer, then it probably means that they aren't the right fit for your company. So try again after some time has passed. If you're looking for a salesperson or any member of your team, then you may be wondering what makes a great salesperson. There are many different skills that could be useful to you as a business owner. A great salesperson will expertly negotiate the best salary possible. There's a good chance your candidate may refuse your first offer. In the end, if they can convince you, a seasoned expert in sales, to give them what they want, then they may be the perfect addition to your sales force. Winning you over here is a great example of how to be a great salesman or woman. When you hire someone new, you want to get them up to speed as quickly as possible. But that doesn't mean the integration process will be easy. You'll need to make sure your new salesperson understands your company culture, what they'll need to bring to the table in order to meet business demands, and your prospects and customers' needs, and so on. It's no secret that onboarding can be a challenge for new employees, but you don't have to take any shortcuts with onboarding. You want to build a team with a high retention rate, right? Then make sure you're providing them with the tools and resources they need to succeed, and keep them engaged. The best way to do this is by taking the time to train your new hires on company-specific processes, explain your business's mission and values, and empower them to want to be a positive contributor. It can be difficult to find and hire the right salesperson for your business. There are no definitive go-to strategies, and every situation is different. Still, with these tips in mind, you'll be in a position to bring in qualified candidates and identify which one will be the best for your business. We know that hiring the salesperson you need for your team can be time-consuming and stressful, especially if you've hired people in the past that haven't matched up to your expectations. But just follow these tips and you'll bolster your chances of finding the perfect candidates. That's it for this video, BBC member. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person, as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!